Councilmember Milawambwe,
Here.
Councilmember Emig,
Here.
Councilmember Painter,
Here.
Councilmember Carrillo,
Here.
Councilmember Black,
Here.
Councilmember Crable,
Here.
Councilmember Bray.
Here.
All right, and Councilmember Bolin, I see you there.
Donna, can you hear us? We just need you to say here. Donna?
I'm here. I'm here. I can hear you.
Perfect.
Gotcha.
We're
Thank
there.
you.
We're here. We're there. Okay. Excuse me. Madam Clerk, is there public comment this evening?
There is no public comment.
Okay. Thank you very much. We're going to turn to the COVID-19 update by our city manager, Mr. Gleason.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Just real quick, I think there was a question last time if the uptick was possibly attributable to anything that the health department has recognized. One of the things that we learned is increased travel and just more of a relaxed atmosphere, which made that, those are my words, not the health department's, but more people getting out and about in the phase that we're currently in. Also, the numbers as we know them today, we have 38 new cases in McLean County. That brings the total to 776. And we have a female in her 60s that passed away today. That brings our McLean County total to 16. As far as the city organization, COVID and the impacts for employees that have children that are in school. With the recent decisions at District 87, Unit 5, those are things that we're working through currently, but we'll get through it. So it could go on more, Mayor, but I think that's enough for tonight.
Great. Thank you so much, Mr. Gleason. Next, we're going to move on to our consent agenda, which include minutes from the June 15th Committee of the Whole meeting and the July 13th Committee of the Whole meeting. Are there any corrections to these minutes? Or is there a motion to approve as presented?
So moved.
Moved
Second.
by Councilmember Carrillo, second by Councilmember, I think that was Crable.
Yes.
It was. Okay, further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Mayor, really quick, if I could just clarify, it's June 15th Committee of the Whole and July 13th regular City Council.
Oh, thank you.
You're
Oh,
fine. Just wanted it for the record.
Let me just go. Is that okay with the maker of the motion and the seconder? Alderman Crable?
Yes.
Okay? Okay.
Yes.
Good.
Perfect.
Thank you very much. I saw the nod.
Thank you.
So, okay.
Yep. Councilmember Matthey,
Yes.
Councilmember Bolin,
Yes.
Councilmember Milawambwe,
Yes.
Councilmember Emig,
Yes.
Councilmember Painter,
Yes.
Councilmember Carrillo,
Yes.
Councilmember Black,
Yes.
Councilmember Crable,
Yes.
Councilmember Bray.
Yes.
Thank you very much. And we're going to move right along to our to council initiative. And I did get some information that I was not aware of. And of course, I was, it's unfortunate because I was mayor when we, several years into being mayor when we instituted this policy. But it was brought to my attention by the clerk and our corporate counsel that council initiatives actually do require a vote. The way we've been handling it is okay. But at this point, what we're going to do is, and I'm just saying this in advance, we're going to give Councilmember Carrillo 3 minutes. We can have a very brief council discussion, but then we do have a vote. And it is just yes or no, do we pursue this? Do we have staff pursue this? So that would be the scenario. I'm going to turn this over to Councilmember Carrillo for approximately 3-minute overview of her proposal. Jen?
Thank you, Mayor. And hopefully this will be short and sweet because you all have seen this movie. If the language on the council initiative looks familiar, it's because I borrowed the same language that Alderman Malomboy used in his aldermanic initiative, proposing that we adopt Juneteenth as a holiday. So my hope is that out of this conversation tonight, we can ask staff to kill two birds with one stone and look at this proposal as well as the Juneteenth proposal, as I think that they should inform one another, at least in terms of how we end up implementing them. So folks might remember that last fall we adopted a proclamation recognizing Indigenous Peoples Day for the first time ever, I believe. This was a step in the right direction. And I think my hope this year is that the city of Bloomington can move towards a more permanent and more institutionalized recognition of the history and contributions of Native, Indigenous, and First Nations people. So I have planned to introduce this initiative for a long time, but I think recent events have made actions like these all the more urgent and needed. So, you know, over the last 4 years, especially, we've seen a significant increase in explicitly white supremacist organizing and activities, both in our community and in the country. But also as a society, I think we've started to connect the dots about the ways that white supremacy shows up in the most explicit ways, and then also in more covert ways, like in the monuments and the statues that we erect, and in the people that we name our landmarks after, and in the holidays that we celebrate, just to name a couple of things. So at least 10 states and more than 140 cities across the country have canceled Columbus Day and instead now celebrate some version of Indigenous Peoples Day. Chicago, just as recently as last month, removed several Columbus statues. And even in our own community, ISU has moved to rename dormitory floors that were named after historical figures that were supportive of the system of slavery. And so now we have our own chance to be a part of this wave of change by institutionalizing the recognition and celebration of the contributions of Indigenous people here in Bloomington. So that is all I have, unless folks have questions.
Okay, well, actually, we're not going to open up for questions. That's just your statement. And then at this point, we're starting 5 minutes of comments from council members. I'm going to go around the dais, and I would ask you to be as brief as possible for your thoughts or you know, on this. And I'm going to, in advance, just let you know, Jen, since I think we know where you're standing on this, I'll be skipping over you. So we have 8 wards to go through in 5 minutes. So I'm gonna start with Council Member Matthew.
I think this is a good idea. I'm a yes.
Okay, Council Member Bowen. Donna? Donna, are you?
I'm here. Yeah, I'm unmuted.
Okay, go ahead.
I believe that cancel culture removes the opportunity for dialogue and to study world history. And to actually, if you study history, Columbus Day is a Italian-American holiday. And so what I see being suggested is a substitution of one culture for another. So I say no.
Okay, Councilmember Miller-Wambwe.
I'd say yes, but I also want to note that on the agenda, there are 3 options.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I wanted to know which direction we're going.
That's what I'm looking for you from you, and the clerk is as well. What do you think?
Okay, what am I thinking?
Yeah, that's
not much at the moment. You know, I'd like to move forward to consider this. I'm just not sure which way we're going.
Well, that's what tonight will tell us, Mboka.
Yeah.
Mayor,
Mayor, can I clarify?
Okay, just very briefly.
Yeah, so what I was recommending and what I'm saying is that we kick it to staff to evaluate this just as we did with Juneteenth, and maybe they can look at both proposals together.
Okay.
I don't know if that's what the mayor is asking, but that's what I was asking you all to consider.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right, then that's clear. Then I'd say yes.
Okay, Councilmember Emig.
I'm in favor of this initiative, and I think it is really interesting about the relationship between Italian American celebrations and Columbus Day, and actually seem to be more about Italians trying to regain status and recognition in a country that was very oppressive of them at the time. So they grabbed onto what they perceived as an icon, and he's Italian, people like him, so they wanted to associate with him. And I just learned that because of Jen's proclamation. I did some research. So, or not proclamation, but initiative. So I'm in favor of this. I don't think it's usurping. I think it's honoring the fact that the holiday is honoring a person who created a lot of harm, and that it doesn't in no way diminish the value of the Italian American community. Thank you.
Councilmember Painter.
Well, I'm conflicted about this because as Councilwoman Emig said, this began in the 1800s after 11 Italians got lynched, and they started Columbus Day to honor them. And I don't think we can do away with it because it's a state holiday. It goes state by state, and the mail will still not be delivered. The post office won't be working. No state offices will be open. So I don't necessarily think we should replace one with the other. I don't have a problem with Indigenous Peoples Day as we had last year. Just do what we did then in perpetuity. That's fine with me. But I'm not in favor of replacing one with the other.
Okay, thank you very much. And I'm gonna, Jen, I think we know where you're coming from. Councilmember Black.
Thank you. And I have to admit that the first time I heard about this was that episode of The Sopranos where they go dig into this. You know, so yeah, at the highest level, like I don't have a strong opinion either way. I just, in my view, like right now we're in the middle of a global pandemic, so I think staff attention should be on that. And if it happens this year, great. If it happens next year, great too.
Okay, Councilmember Credo, excuse me.
Yes, I would be in favor of this. I think it's common knowledge that this day is celebrated as discovering America, and you know, that's his in essence. It's all about, you know, what he's done, what he did for against Indigenous people. So I'd be in favor of this.
Councilmember Bray.
I am not in favor of this. I think some of my colleagues have spoken to some good reasons. I have also heard from multiple members of the American Indian community. They don't support these kinds of initiatives either. So I just think I would be in support of what we did last year, and then would echo Councilmember Black's comments that we're in the middle of a pandemic. We need to focus on the needs of our citizens at this time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think at this point we do have, Madam Clerk, if you'll confirm a not unanimous, of course, but a majority, and I'm guessing it is 6A2, have staff evaluate and prepare an analysis for the proposed initiative and bring it back for further council discussion. And that will require, if we could have a motion to that effect, then we can move ahead with a vote, because we do need a vote rather than just the.
Mayor, if you'd like, we can just move forward. We don't require the vote. It's just a way to kind of keep it clean across the board. So I have a majority right now. If you'd like to just move forward with the staff evaluation, that would be fine.
That's what it seemed to me. And I just as a comment along the way, before we go to our city manager's report, I have to say, when I was in 8th grade, when I took American history, which was my biggest deep dive, I had Mr. Kroll, who was like the toughest SOB that you could have. And he really kicked my butt, which really helped me in so many ways. But the one thing that I always wondered about, and I was 13, I thought, why do we celebrate Columbus? You know, I couldn't quite get it. You know, it's beginning with him that we had all kinds of pillaging and slavery and whatever. It seemed to me to be rather odd that that was something that the hemisphere that was subjugated by him, and those who said they discovered, it's only my ancestors, the white people from Europe, who discovered a hemisphere that's been around for a very long time. But anyway, just my comment, the initiative's over. I didn't want to say anything before the council said anything. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to the city manager. You have a report.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Phil, if you would put up the slide for new hires. And we've had two this past month. Morgan joins Parks and Rec, and Robert is a new telecommunicator for police dispatch. Thanks, Phil. And then secondly, the last item, I've been looking for a council meeting that had a lighter agenda, and I found one next week. Not too much action items for council to consider. And I've asked Public Works to put together about a 10-minute PowerPoint presentation, lots of pictures of the projects that are in play that we've completed in 2020 or are in process. That's all I've got, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you so much. At this point, we do not have an executive session. Is that correct? So let's move on to a vote for
That
adjournment.
is correct.
Is there a, wow, man, we're like normal used to be. Holy cow, 16 minutes. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Whoa, several people. Moved by
Second.
Councilmember Carrillo, second by, who seconded that?
Matthew, me.
Councilmember Matthew. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I think
Aye.
it's pretty clear we're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Take care.